Are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tool to Play presents Still Got Game with Derek D. Smooth Nolan and Joel Dude I Rock Albert.
This episode of Still Got Game is brought to you by ThinkGeek and the Craft Beer Club. Hey now, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Still Got Game, episode 335. Still Got Game's official podcast of tooltoplay.com. I am, as always, Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
I am Joel Dude I Rock Albert.
And Tiffany Electrify Nolan will be joining us later from the news desk. So what is going on, Joel Dude I Rock Albert, my friend? We had last week off.
Played some Overwatch beta, played a shitload of Division.
Nice.
You know, same old, same old.
Freed up some time for you while I was in
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
Totally.
Well,
How was your trip?
It was good. The work part during the day was not as fun, but each night was full of drinking and hanging out with people. One of the nights I got to hang out with BC Kinetic, Brad Clark, good friend of ours, old school tool play guy, and we set up shop at a German beer house and ate some crazy food, drank some crazy drinks, and soon enough 3 hours had passed, and then he had to go home. So it was.
He's kind of a douchebag, but yeah, that's great. That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, he trekked out from his job, and we get to catch up, which is good because I haven't seen him since the last Tool to Play LAN,
which was like 10 years ago.
That would have been 3 years ago, but close. That's
is there only been? No, it's been more than 3 years.
No, it's been 3 years. No, it was the year before Tiff and I got married, so it's 4 years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was out in Seattle during my wedding anniversary, so Tiff was none too happy. But it's how work works. It's just the way it goes. So,
yes, but every day with you guys is like a blissful reunion. Each and every day.
This is true.
An anniversary.
This is true, and we are going to celebrate.
Tiff is shaking her head no, and
she's so mean. But we're going to celebrate this coming weekend at PAX East. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we get some quality dinner reservations, and we're gonna make a good time. So, yes. All right. Well, why don't we just jump in the show proper, Jay, and we'll start off with feedback from last week's show. Remember, if you want to leave us a voicemail, it will cut you off after a minute. Vertigo comments: your show schedule has been pretty erratic over the past couple months. Every time I try to tune into the live Twitch show for the first time, it seems to be a no-show week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I can't really say anything.
Yeah, not a lot to say. I mean, it takes 4 people to make the show, right?
Yep.
The chances of any one of those 4 people not being here is decently high, I would say. So if you get one every other week, I feel like we're doing pretty good. And most of the time it is every other week. And at the worst, I think it's 2 weeks, but usually it's every other week. We shoot for every week.
Yeah, we did have a good streak of.
We have streaks.
We have 2 3-in-a-row streaks out of the last 4 sets of streaks. So that's not bad. But yeah, it's tough if you're trying to tune into the live stream. That's really the downside of missing shows. Yeah. If you were just like a YouTube person that subscribed or subscribed to the podcast like the majority of our people, then all of a sudden an episode shows up. You're like, there it is. But yeah, if you're coming live, there's not a lot we can do for you.
The only lame thing you could do is like rebroadcast on a day that we're not there, which is totally viable option. And I've thought about it in the past, but it just doesn't seem, the whole point of coming to Twitch is to see it live. But if we're not live, we're not live, and say a lot.
Yeah.
We could get in that mode of like starting something while we're not around just so that there's always something playing at the exact time. But I don't know. It feels weird to me.
Yeah. Well, back when this was a audio only show and Code and I were doing it, what we would do is if we knew someone was not going to be there next week, we'd record an episode and then record the next week's episode. And I'd talk about the new releases just like they were new, and we'd play it, which works well in a recorded format, but not so well in the live format.
Yeah, you kind of have. I mean, you could technically pre-record video and then put it up, but again, there's no chat.
Yeah,
there's no.
Yeah. Then people would think we were the biggest dicks because no one would be responding to chat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we rarely respond to chat now. Rarely.
But imagine if we didn't at all.
Right. Like maybe we just like pre-record it and then like come up with random names. Like, yeah, Blue Steel, great question. Moving on.
Or we just need one person to go and chat and just answer everything from the Tool to Play account. But yeah, it's tough, Vertigo. We will try to do better. And we do usually leave some notice. Like we did tell people during the last show that I was going to be gone last week.
Yeah, we try to let people know when these things happen.
Unless there's an emergency, we usually know in advance.
Yeah, that's very true.
But at this point, there will be a show next week. We will be talking about what Tiff and I see at PAX East next Monday. So tune in live for that, Vertigo, and we will be here.
Now, are you two just going to host it? And I don't have to be there?
No, you're still going to be there because you're gonna be like the quid pro. You're going to be like,
I'll be like the Tiff thing where like you don't see me till like the very end or in the middle, and then I like say something and then I'm out. Or like I pre-record something. And then you just put me in there, but you can slot me in.
You could ask questions about stuff. You'd be like, "Oh, so what did you see at 2K? What was it?"
Right, so I could pre-record these questions. I see what you're saying. I'm on your page.
All right. We'll figure this out during the next week.
I will say, Blue Steel said in chat that we used to have guest hosts. I'm trying to think of like the guest hosts that we used to have.
We haven't had guest hosts since we went video. We used
it's been a long time, but yeah, I guess we used to.
Back in the podcast days, like I've called on many people, some better guest hosts than others. A lot of times it was Jonah Falcon was brought in. One time it was Dane Waterborne Tulloch. One time Hit was my my co-host.
I think Hit should be a co-host at some point. He's like my favorite.
Hit is so fucked up right now. He doesn't even remember the time he was on. I will find the episode where he was my co-host. But yes, he's honestly looking like right now. I'm looking at him in the video, and he does not remember this at all.
Well, he doesn't remember the last 15 minutes. So.
This is true. He's short-term memory loss. But yeah, that's why we do not do guest hosts, because it's much tougher with video to get everybody ready and have the right setup.
And set it all up. Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah. All right. Parkour Panda comments. I've only been a listener to your podcast for about 6 months, but it's quickly become one of my favorites. Someday, if I can find the time, I'll check out the YouTube version, but I'm a commuter podcast consumer, so it's usually unsafe for me to watch videos in the car.
Is it weird that I watch videos in the car?
I think we're all guilty of that. I watched an entire season of True Blood while commuting. So, yeah.
It's possible. Very dangerous, but totally possible.
If you're behind and you're trying to catch up with the person you're trying to watch True Blood with, then you do it in the car. But
you do what you got to do.
Yeah, you got to man up.
You got to man up.
But if there's any law enforcement out there, I just made that story up.
That's bullshit. No one watches while they're driving. That's insane.
Who would do that? It would be like talking on the phone while you're driving.
Yeah, I don't do that either. No.
Of course not. All right. And last but not least, Phil Harris comments. Huge after show last week. Thanks for these bonus shows. And
what was our after show?
Tiff and I were trying to remember this.
It doesn't know either.
Yeah. I looked. I didn't want to listen to it again, but I quickly went and looked at the size of the file. It was like 20 something minutes was the after show chunk. So it was a decent size. That's like a free third of a show to a half of a show, depending on the length of the show. So yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Once the formulaic show was over, the ad hoc show takes place. So yeah, any of you that don't know this and you watch live, well, if you watch live, you're getting it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's usually like something that Hit says that we don't agree with. And it spawns like a 20-minute, like, what are you talking about? Usually those are the longer ones, but every so often it's something else.
Yeah, I don't remember what we talked about, but yeah, if you're a YouTube person, you're the only one missing this because the people that watch on Twitch get it live, and in the place where the outtakes used to go when the show was highly edited in a podcast before it was video, I just dumped that after show at the end of the whatever outtakes there are at the end of the podcast version. So if you're watching on YouTube, go over to the Twitch channel and watch the replay, or go to the podcast, even go to toolplay.com homepage, and then every podcast has a player right there. You can listen, you can zoom to the end. And it's like a bonus show that you get that's unscripted. Hit gets involved, Tiff gets involved, and it's good stuff. Highly recommended. All right, well, if any of you awesome feedback like this, give us a call, 773-527-2961, or email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. And in site-related news, everybody's busy. Nobody's done anything. And we're going to just slide right out of this, right over into what we're playing. Joel, Dude, I Rock Albert, what have you been playing these last 2 weeks?
Obviously, Division, mostly now. That's my jam. But I did spend a lot of time. I don't know if I'll say a lot of time. 2 to 3 hours playing the Overwatch beta this weekend. I got in. I went from not liking it too much to loving it a lot in probably those 2 hours. It's a game that I think will garner that reaction. Well, you'll have to get used to, first of all, being in an FPS and being on PC for me. It's been a while. Getting my aim back together. But after going through all the classes, I started with the class I hated. and eventually ended up with a bunch of classes I loved and just went down the list. It looks to be really just an amazingly polished game, as for whatever reason, Blizzard does extremely well with every game they make. So it's extremely polished, feels really fluid, very awesome gameplay. None of the classes feel so broken yet. There's a couple where I was just shitting on kids, going like 24-0. I streamed it on Twitch. So if you guys want to watch it, I have my stream up. You can check it out on the Tool to Play Twitch stream. But it was fun. It's very, very good. And I think it convinced me to buy it for PC and not for console, because I forgot how amazing FPSs truly are with a mouse and keyboard. They are billions of times better than what a console could do. They just are. Yeah. Point and click at the thing you want to shoot. You're there. Your reaction time is like milliseconds instead of like trigger moving guy to the right. Oops, go left a bit. Fire. It's just nothing compares to it.
I know what you're saying. I've been there, but
yeah, it's rough because no one plays on the fucking PC. So it's,
I know that's the problem. It's
gonna be me playing by myself.
Do you want to play where it's better? Or you want to play with your friends?
Yeah.
So I think
I just gotta get new friends. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, we loved Overwatch last year at PAX East. It's going to be there this weekend too. But yeah, when we pick it up, it's definitely going to be on console.
Yeah, I'll end up having it up. So I pre-ordered it on console already, but I'm probably just going to buy it again on my PC.
Nice.
I like it that much. I guess if that's a way to, explain my review, I'm going to probably have it on both systems.
That's a good sign. Yeah, it's been a year since I played, so yeah, I'm looking forward to trying it again.
Much different game. Like, 'cause I think we did the demo last year or something. Yeah. It's just completely fleshed out. I think at the demo time there was 5 classes. Now there's like 20 something.
Nice.
So there's a lot going on. It's a good game for sure. What about you?
Well, obviously I did Destiny. I got back from my trip on Thursday afternoon. By the time I did all my loot management with the update, I started Thursday at 3:20, went to bed Thursday night at 3:27. Felt pretty good about that, considering I did the Challenge of Elders in the raid, and it was good stuff. I also played a little game called Soda Drinker Pro. It's been it's on Xbox. Don't worry. It's been on PC for a while. It's coming out on PlayStation now. It's not really a game that you would normally categorize as fun, but if you're
it's a pretty good category to be.
I know. Normally you would think that's where you want to aim with games. This is more of a game that you got to be fucked up for this game. So the entire point of the game is to drink sodas. All you have to do is drink the soda. You hold in the left trigger to lift up the cup. You hold in the right trigger to suck on the straw. And it's first person and you have this cup in front of you. But the real meat of the game happens when you go through this little door on the second level. And you might not think you can go through, but you can go through it. And then it takes you into this crazy, like the most LSD-induced mini game set ever. And it is fucked up. It's insane. And that part is pretty crazy and fun. So, and I'm sure this game must be pretty cheap. So if you're looking for something to try out.
Why did you buy this game?
I got it for free.
Oh, okay.
In all defense. And that segues me into something that at the end of the show, if you put something in the comments, you comment in, well, I guess I can't look at the Twitch chat. So you're going to go to the Tool to Play homepage after the show is up on Wednesday. Make a comment there. I'll pick one of the comments at random, and you too will get a code for Xbox One to download a copy of Soda Drinker Pro. I got one for you too. So there's one for me and one for someone in the audience.
I guess that's winning.
Yeah, you can win something. And the last thing I played this week was I did the Battleborn beta, which was awesome and amazing. That was better than the last time I saw it, that also too had only 5 classes. This time a shitload. So I played as a couple different classes. Ended up playing as a kind of hybrid class that had swords but could launch special attacks. And yeah, that's another fun game, another first person. I like how the whole MOBA concept now has switched away from the lanes, and it's switched to let's go first person. Because that's all I ever.
5 companies now are doing What is with the gaming industry now, where an idea is someone spawns an idea, and then immediately following we get 70 different versions of, because what was the other one I played with Ken for a while? Paladins is another one. Paladins, go play Paladins. Another, it's Hi-Res Studios. It's a great game.
Epic Games has another one coming.
Yeah, theirs is out.
Paragon.
Yeah. Which I played the beta there. What the fuck, man? There's like 80 of these games in like a week.
But that's what happened with MOBAs too. Remember, with MOBAs you had the original fucking mod, and then you had League, then you had all these other ones. I played for a
Dota
while.
2.
Yeah, Dota 2 was the original. Then all of a sudden, I was playing like the DC Comics one that had all the DC Comics characters. Like something becomes successful, and then everybody puts one out. And as cool as the thought of MOBAs was at the time, it was always the same thing. Even when you played the DC one, it was 3 lanes. I'd pick your same old champions, blah, blah, blah. But now that we're getting the first person stuff, now we're back in my wheelhouse. This is all I wanted. I wanted these things to be first person. So I'm going to try all these things. I can't wait to figure out which one is my my go-to fake MOBA of choice.
Yeah, I recently played I got into the beta for another one I can't remember. Looks exactly like Battleborn. I mean, like they're the same game. It's getting that bad. I hated it. It was on. I got the beta for Xbox and PC. I tried them on both platforms. I think I mentioned it a couple shows ago. But it's one of those things where I'm still not convinced MOBA FPS makes a lot of sense. The reason what Blizzard's doing is so great is because it's not a MOBA at all. It's not lane driven. It is just an FPS.
Neither was
an
Battleborn.
RPG FPS, but very light on the RPG, very heavy on the FPS.
Yeah,
I like that. I think that's better.
I think more of what Battleborn is that single game RPG where it's just like League is, where during the game you get to a certain point, you've unlocked something, you hold in the button to pull up your skill tree, and you pick either this or this, and you're working one tree or you're trying to work both. And the nice part about Battleborn 2 is it also has a campaign, like story mode type stuff that you can do as a 5-man team. And you can either do it with your friends, or you can go online and find a server and run it with 5 guys there. Now, one of my times on the server, 2 of our guys bailed out right away. So 3 of us had to 3-man an entire, what I guess what you call it, a little mini raid. But yeah, it's a good time. So I'm looking forward to checking all these things out more and picking which one I'm going to add to my repertoire.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see at least that companies are trying different stuff. It sucks that everything always just comes at once. It makes it kind of hard to actually decide. But Battleborn, I will say, out of the look of all of them, looks to be the most polished. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm definitely going to give it a shot. Nice. I've been looking at that one for a while as well. So.
Well, if you end up picking one, let me know, and I
will,
and I'll join you there because I'm loving these things, and I'll go to wherever my friends are.
Word.
All right. All right. Well, I guess on that, normally we'd jump over the new releases at this point, but there are no major new releases out this week. I guess the only thing I will talk about quick before we leave is the Gears of War 4 multiplayer beta is out. If you played the Ultimate Edition, you're already getting codes now. Otherwise, if you got it through some other means, those codes are coming in the mail, and you're going to be pulled into the beta shortly. But that's about it. So I guess on that, why don't we hop on over into gaming news? What's going on, Tiff?
Hey, guys. Not much. Just getting ready for PAX.
I know. It's coming up soon.
It is.
It's going to be exciting as always.
Yeah, I was just saying in the chat, I keep confusing Battleborn and Overwatch.
Yes. Battleborn was the one you watched me play this weekend, and Overwatch is Blizzard's awesomeness that we played last year at PAX East.
Yes.
Gotcha. Thanks.
No problem. See, now I clarified it in one sentence.
Good job.
Although, that's really not going to be that clear later. But all right. So why don't we start this off? First story.
In-store PlayStation VR demos coming soon, and this comes from IGN. According to Sony Interactive Entertainment Vice President of Marketing John Kohler, PlayStation VR is a technology that needs to be lived to be believed. And that's why, starting in June, Sony will be rolling out over 500,000 in-store demos across retailers. Speaking at a GameStop investors meeting last week, Kohler said, experiential marketing will be a large part of PlayStation VR's marketing. Trial drives the conversion to purchase, Kohler said, will have a fantastic technology, but you need to get your hands on it. Fortune reported GameStop will be a key launch partner for Sony. The retailer will have a significant amount of stores with dedicated PlayStation VR demo stations. GameStop CEO Paul Raines told investors it's likely GameStop stores will have a lot of PlayStation VR demos in stores, but not as many stores demoing the Oculus Rift or HTC Vive. We've played all the VR that comes through our office, and the setup time for PlayStation VR is significantly easier, and the space required to demo is small, Rain said. So what do you guys think of this? Is this going down the path of the Kinect? Like it's all these Kinect stations set up.
This is good news because
this is.
The hardest selling point of VR is convincing people they want it. And think about all the times that the 3 of us have tried VR at various events. And at first you're like iffy on it. You remember old school VR. Maybe you remember the Virtual Boy. At worst case, maybe you remember the post Lawnmower Man arcades that opened up with the VR where you stood in the circle and did the shooter that way. But it's not until you put on one of these modern headsets that you really realize that VR is there, and we're in the VR generation. And the way to sell this is to get this out there to the consumers. We talked about this, I think, last show. We said the price has to come down and people have to experience it. And
you can't show it on a video. I mean, it's one of the hardest things is when you go to their website or you watch streams of it, people are actually streaming it, or you watch videos of it, demos of it. There is no way to sell VR other than putting on the headset. It's a tough thing as a consumer. I think people want VR, but at the same time, if you've never tried it, it's a huge barrier because you don't know what you're missing. It's one of those things. How do you know if you want it if you don't know it?
Yep.
It's a tough sell. So no, this is good.
And especially taking of all the VR solutions out there, maybe for all intents and purposes, Vive is the premier leader right now, followed by Rift, which is ironic. But those are really expensive. And now you're talking about you're taking the Sony one, which is the least expensive. You're showing it off in a place where you're showing just how easy it is to hook up to a PlayStation 4 console and let people try it in a store. And I think this is a great plan on their part.
Well, it's a great move for PlayStation. I will say, like, the pitch that Reigns is saying when he talks about, how easy it is to set up, and that's why there's more of them. There's probably a deal here with PlayStation directly. I would say his words, I would take them at a grain of salt. I think all of them are probably really good. I know the Vive has been actually getting more press, I think, overall than Oculus has, which is ironic since it came significantly later in the game. But I think any of the VRs currently that are going to be hitting the market, whether you buy the Vive or whether you buy the Oculus or even PlayStations, I think they all offer a very, very similar experience.
Oh, yes.
So if you want to save the money and you're not about the setup time, PlayStation's the way to go. You will, I will say, get higher quality out of the Vive as well as the Oculus. So I think it is a step up to buy those two products versus the Sony. But it's a great way. Again, we've said cost is a giant barrier here. If you want to dabble your feet in the VR world and you already have a PlayStation 4, it makes a hell of a lot of sense to go out and buy a PlayStation VR. So
you're not shelling out $1,500 on a PC to then shell out $600, $800.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really cool. And again, this is the only way to sell VR is to put it in the hands of people to actually look at the VR that they want to buy. So it's a good move.
Yeah, not everybody goes to cons. Not everybody goes to. So this is your chance, mass market. Joe Sixpack, get out there and check it out. Come this summer. All right, next story.
The Division's cheating problem is still a thing. Punishments coming for Falcon Lost cheesers, and this comes from Games Radar. Players who used a clipping glitch to cheat their way through the Division's big Falcon Lost incursion might well be punished, according to a community management forum post. The Division hasn't exactly had the smoothest launch, with queuing issues, hacks, missing characters, and Ubi has already started handing out 3-day bans for players who disconnect. The Falcon Lost glitch involves using mobile cover to clip through walls and enter areas without triggering enemies. That means you can clean up on high-end gear without having to face the big final fight. Ubi says, "We are working on fixing the exploit. Obviously, it is against our code of conduct, and the team is looking into what can be done in terms of punishment." The terms and conditions mentioned in the post specifically list glitching as an offense, handing out a temporary suspension for a first time and a permanent ban for multiple offenses. I'm guessing busted players won't get to keep all those shiny drops either. So what do you guys think of this? And I know we do have a question later on that comes from Hit, so I don't know if we want to pull that up and discuss that now, or if you guys want to save that for later.
No, we can do it later. Well, I guess it depends on how deep we get.
We'll touch back on it later because I'm sure that we can dig deep on this. But
yeah, so what do you guys? I mean, do you think this is cheating?
So no, I don't. So this is
wait, before you talk, have you used this exploit?
No, I don't even know how to. I don't even know what the exploit's about. It makes no sense to me.
All right.
But I will say this. So if you ever remember, well, I'm sure you do. If you played Destiny, you remember being able to knock Atheon off of his platform.
Oh yeah.
So So
so many exploits, yes.
So many exploits, right? And here's the problem is the way you define an exploit versus a cheat versus a hack. And they're all different variant ways of taking advantage in the game to do something that you probably shouldn't do. Now, as an exploit, the way this works, totally an exploit. I wouldn't even pretend that it's not the case. The problem with this raid, if you want to call it that, and the problem with what the division is currently facing is it is by far the buggiest video game that anyone has released in the last decade of playing games. I love the game so much. I play it every day. But they have done one of the worst jobs in keeping their game up to the standards that anyone is used to when buying a AAA title. On top of that, the raid is also not fun. So, and this is important. This is what drives the desire for gamers to break games, to find ways to get around things, to make things easier on themselves when they know that the barrier to entry is something that they physically don't want to do. And so the problem we have right now in the division is the highest end gear in the game, the shit that you can get that is better than anything else, all lives behind this incursion. The incursion is one of the worst pieces of content I have ever played. And that's me saying that I love the division, but it's a piece of shit. It is terrible. It's punishing on the player. It is scaled so high that any of the abilities that you've built up to get to that point go completely out the window. Mm. And so over the past 2 weeks, they've had a bug where you were able to damage this NPC and kill it and get loot for free. And that's bad. But what they then did is they patched the bug, and then immediately after, someone found another way to do the same thing. And what ends up happening is once a player gets it in their head that this is the most efficient way to find gear and get gear, if they don't exploit, that means everyone else around them will exploit. And then they will be so far behind in the game. Now, this is an MMO, and as Derek knows and I know, the whole point is to raise your level cap, to be better than everyone else so that you can fuck them up in PvP or whatever else they want. Yep. And so if you're not exploiting, you're falling behind. Every day that you don't exploit, you're going to be less and less effective in the game versus everybody else, which creates this pile-on mentality of like, well, if I don't glitch, then I'm fucked. And so everyone glitches more. And the minute that you patch it and someone comes back to the game, finds another glitch, they're going to exploit it. So it's cheating. Yes, you're totally cheating. I don't think that's debatable. But I think when a developer builds a paradigm that forces people to feel like they need to do these glitches, then there's a problem in the game. Then that should be solved by developers and should not be punished by the player. And that's the fine line. The hacker who goes in, manipulates code himself to whiz around the game universe and give themselves superpowers to one-shot people. Those are the people that you ban. But exploiters, I don't think you ever want to get into that area of banning exploiters, just like Bungie never banned Atheon people. No, never happened.
They never banned Loot Cave people. They never banned Atheon. You can take the Templar and do the same thing with him.
Or what was it, Crota? You unplug your Ethernet cable and he stays on one knee and you kill him.
Yep.
Those are problems in the code that the developers have built in that allows the player to take advantage. And as soon as a video game player can take advantage,
they will.
So it's a weird thing for them to even talk about banning.
So this is the difference between Ubisoft and Bungie, for example, because Bungie says, okay, one, we fucked up, we're going to fix it, and two, and they even made a statement at the time. So let's look at Loot Cave, for example. They said, okay, if what we're doing is making people want to stay here for 8 hours shooting into a hole, then we've done something wrong in the game that's not making it rewarding or fun enough for players. So they went back to the drawing board. They fixed that shit, and including they fixed the glitch or the exploit or whatever, but they also tried to figure out a way to make it so that you didn't feel like you needed to do that. Ubi, on the other hand, notorious for releasing buggy games and notorious for not giving a shit. So obviously they thought in advance about this and they put this in their terms of service beforehand. They were like, glitching it's a bannable offense. And that's one way to keep your game solid so that you're like, well, if people are cheating, we'll just boot them, or glitching, we'll boot them. But the better way is, how about you fix the problem and then go back to the fundamental cause? Like you said, if it's not fun and it's that far over your level that it's not even remotely fun to do the raid, then fix that. Like that's on you. That's not on the player. But At the same time, they're covered because they put this in their terms of service. So,
Yeah, and the irony is if you look at the community now, and again, this is a game that I've been playing, so I have a pretty good feel for what's happening. If you look at the community now, the reaction to this when this came out, which was I think earlier this week or previous week, was that people didn't care. See, that's when you know that your game is bad. When the community's reaction to "we're going to ban you" is "I don't care, ban me. It'll give me time to go do something else in my life." That is something fundamentally wrong with your game. I literally, and I'll say this too, and I think Hits feels the same way, and pretty much everyone who plays. If a ban came down to any of us and they said you're banned for 3 days, okay, fine, doesn't matter. Because you have not created content that's fun for me to play, and therefore, if my only recourse is being banned to get the gear that I need to go play in the Dark Zone or whatever else, then I'm totally fine with the getting banned. Then you just lose a customer because you haven't fixed your game. And there's nothing there for me that I feel like in a Blizzard game, and I feel like I always bring up Blizzard. If I got banned in World of Warcraft, I would be so fucking pissed. Because the only way I could have gotten banned in World of Warcraft is if I did something where I knew I would get banned. Botting, right? That's a hack. Yep. Literally, I get a bot. It goes out. It plays PvP for me while I go to sleep. I wake up the next morning. I have all the gear. If I got banned, I'd be devastated because that's me putting tons of time into a game that I love. And I knew while doing it that it was totally not cool.
Yep.
And I'd get banned for it. And that would suck. But in this case, it's just the paradigm of how the game is built. Maybe you should just make fun content that isn't buggy and people won't have to resort to these types of things.
Yep.
Like you said, Bungie did it and it's fine. Atheon was fixed. People love the raid, so they continued to play the raid. I'm not so sure that if this gets fixed, if people will continue to play challenge mode in the incursion, because it isn't fun to play. No. Period. It's not fun to play.
That's on Ubi.
It's on Ubi. Yeah. Yep. All right.
All right. Next story.
Open world survival game Rust finally adds female character models, and this comes from Joystick X and Gadget. Rust, the popular open-world survival game from the creator of Garry's Mod, now features female character models after more than 2 years on Steam Early Access and attracting millions of players. Facepunch Studios rolled out the new models in an update late last week. Players don't get to choose what their characters look like or which gender they are. Models are randomly assigned and locked to the individual Steam IDs. Facepunch is aware that some players don't enjoy the idea of playing Rust as a woman, creator Gary Newman says. He shared one recent player complaint on Twitter that reads in part, "I got a dirty woman, and every time I see her, I want to throw up." We understand this causes you distress and makes you not want to play the game anymore, Newman says. Technically, nothing has changed. Since half of the population was already living with those feelings, the only difference is that whether you feel like this is now decided by your Steam ID instead of your real-life gender. Facepunch is continually updating Rust, and this isn't the end of the character model changes. I'll continue to add variations over the coming weeks, which means you're probably not stuck with your new face forever, Newman writes. It sounds like players will be stuck with their genders, though. In June, Newman told Polygon that he had used Rust as a kind of social experiment, and he didn't see any race-based discrimination in the game. However, he was excited to document the future impact of female character models in Rust. "I'm more interested in seeing what happens when we add the female model," Newman told Polygon. "Whether women will get attacked more because they're perceived as weak, or whether they'll get attacked less because they're perceived as vulnerable. That stuff is interesting to me." So what do you guys think about this? I know we talked about Rust, I guess it was back in June.
Or a while back.
Yeah, it was a while back.
We talked about Rust when they first introduced other races.
Right.
Okay.
And it was a big deal. It was the same randomness. It was like, hey, you sign it, it gets attached to your Steam ID, and you might be Asian, you might be African American, you might be white. This guy...
I love this guy. I've seen this, and I'm like, this guy is like, he sits at his computer and he's like, how can I fuck with my player base as much as humanly possible today?
Yes.
And then he just does it, and his reaction is like, yeah, it's kind of funny, huh?
It's like a science experiment, guys.
It's totally great.
Look at everybody freaking out. I love this. As much as I like to go in a game and custom tailor my character to look exactly how I want, it's the ultimate fuck you to start a game that you've paid good money for on early access and to load up that game and it's like generating your character. And you could be like a midget, Asian woman. And you might be in real life, this big, bulky, white, Joe frat boy type. And now all of a sudden that's your character in this game. you can't change it, and no matter what happens, and it's awesome.
And I feel like, at least if you're a Rust player and you remember last June when all this went down, the fact that you all of a sudden logged in and got a female, you should be ready for that in some way. And like, not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like this guy has created a game where things stay the same and you always get exactly what you want. I think a part of playing Rust is like the knowledge that things are going to be fucked up a lot of the time. And when they are, you probably shouldn't freak out about it, because it could be like 2 months from now, he just decides that you're no longer a female, or maybe like he just is like, now you're a hermaphrodite. You got both. Figure out what you are. I don't know. Maybe he'll do that. And that's why you play Rust. If not, then you probably shouldn't play Rust anymore.
It's got millions of players playing, and people. Gary Newman's a smart guy. Like, Gary's mod was one of the most popular mods back in the day, and somehow he turned making a mod into a career for himself. Started Face Punch. They've got this amazing game out, and everybody loves these kind of survival games. There's whether you're talking DayZ or whatever. There's a million of these now. So what differentiates this one from the others is almost your lack of choice.
You're thrown into a game universe that you can't dictate.
Yep.
And it's the controller, the wizard, the guy behind the screen. Gary decides whatever it is that you're going to get to do. And if you're not cool with that, like I said, then you probably shouldn't play. But it's a really, I don't play Rust for that very reason, because I actually like to have that player control. But I already know that, so that's okay. Yeah. But if you want to get involved with something like this, it is still cool.
No,
like,
I think it's tremendously cool. I think it's cool that the coolest part is that he gives zero fucks. He is just like, this is my livelihood. I need people to buy this to live. But I don't even care.
Yeah, but like whatever, right?
It's like my science experiment. I'm gonna keep track of all you guys and see who cares, who's doing this, who's doing that. I don't even know where he's gonna go next, but it's awesome. I love that he's doing this.
Absolutely.
All right, nice. All right, next story.
We have this week's What the Fuck story. Kanye West making a video game about his mom in heaven, and this comes from NBC News. Self-proclaimed Sonic painter Kanye West has officially entered the gaming industry and yesterday released a trailer for his first video game, Only One. The game centers on his mother traveling through the gates of heaven and is adapted from a song West released in 2014. This was hard to do, bro, West told the crowd at his sold-out fashion show/album release party Thursday at New York City's Madison Square Garden, explaining that he had faced resistance from Silicon Valley in his attempts to develop the game. Y'all just be acting like this is regular. Footage broadcast on the arena's Jumbotron showed colorized skies of winged angels flying through clouds towards a bright light. His mother, Donda West, passed away in 2007 from complications after cosmetic surgery and is frequently referenced in Kanye's work as a major inspiration. In the game, players must bring her to the highest gate of heaven by holding her to the light, West said in a radio interview with Power 105.1 last year. No details were available as to the game's release date or what gaming platform it would run on. So how are you guys going to talk about this story without offending lots of people?
Before we get to the story itself, your Kanye quotes
is the best thing that
yes, that is.
podcast
okay, no, I was trying to be nice, but like read them differently because I wanted to make sure that it was the Kanye.
Y'all just
voice.
be acting like this is regular.
But I didn't want to go over the top with it.
No, I feel like you went over the top.
Oh, no.
It was awesome.
No, like that one time that you guys like busted out laughing when I switched voices.
Oh yes, yeah. Your Kanye voice was pro.
Okay, well, thank you. So
I felt like Kanye was in the room with me.
Oh, Yeezy.
Just want to put that out there. Yeah, this is stupid.
Yes.
So,
like, there's a reason why no one's made a game about people going to heaven.
Well, the worst part about this is like, there's so many worst parts. Fuck, this is one of those stories where like trying to figure out how to even start it is actually kind of hard to do. So, I mean, you can be narcissistic or you can be Kanye West, and that's just a whole nother level. To build a game that is really for you and for, this is even the worst part. It's not even really for his mom. It's really for him to remember his mom and think that people want to play a game about a guy's dead mom. I can't even, it's just so fucking retarded that like, it makes no sense at all. But again, because it's Kanye West, I also don't think that really matters.
I don't think I don't even think he comprehends that people would not want to play a game about getting his dead mom into the highest tier of heaven. Like, to him, that's normal. He's like, everyone wants to see my mom get into the highest tier of heaven. So I'm going to make a game about it because I'm easy. I'm going to put it out there. I'm as big as Jesus. I'm going to put this game out there. People are going to want to play it. Everyone's going to buy it. It's going to be the biggest game ever.
I'm watching this trailer right now. She's on a flying Pegasus.
Oh, yeah. The flying Pegasus should be behind me here on the,
is
you
it?
watching the
Good.
stream? Yes.
Good.
Here, I'll tilt my head.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I mean, it's amazing. It's an amazing game. It's going to be a success, which is really exciting for Kanye. But now this is one of those things where I've always felt like so I actually love Kanye West's music. I actually love it. I think he's great. But he's getting to the point now, and it's like it used to be funny, I think, in the past, like, he totally cares about himself and nobody else. He considers himself so good at this point that even when he's bad, I don't think he ever knows that he's bad.
No, he doesn't. You're right.
Yeah, and that's scary.
He's
like that
oblivious to it.
combination of person, that's a scary individual because he's going to create shit. No one's going to tell him it's shit because everyone's going to be like, Yeezy knows what he's doing. At least not within his circle of friends. And it's just he's going to put out more and more shit until he's irrelevant.
Yeah.
And it sucks because he was good when people didn't respect him and he wasn't making good music. When he finally did, he blew up. But now he's at a point in his career where I feel like he wants to get into the fashion industry, not working out. He wants to do video games, not gonna work out. So it's kind of sad. It's more sad than it is funny, but it's also very funny.
And his entourage is probably there with him the whole time. Like, yeah, you got this. This is the best game ever. I can't wait to play this on Xbox. Because they're all like, talk about yes men. These guys are like, they make yes men seem like no men. Like his guys are just like they couldn't kiss his ass more.
They're like, this is gonna be the best video game you've ever made. This is gonna be the best video game that America's ever seen.
Fuck Madden. Fuck Madden. We're all over this Yeezy.
I'm just waiting for Yeezy to be like, dude, I'm coming out with a new console. I'm getting into the market. It's gonna be fucking Yeezy's console. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be like, cause why not? Why not? You're making a video game. You might as well make hardware. Make your own hardware. It's not a big deal.
I'm the best that ever was. Jesus came to me. He told me one night, I'm going to make the best console there ever was. So I decided to do it the next day. It's coming out in 2 months.
This is one of those stories where, God damn it, I feel like I need so much time to just process the story because I have so many jokes and things I want to say. It's like I can't.
You can't even get to them. Yeah, you can't.
I can't get to them. And it's also so sad that at the same time I'm like, oh, do I really want to like make this a story? Like, do I even want to like bring this to the forefront of our tiny audience that we do have? I don't even want to subject them to this story. That's the saddest part about it.
It is. It is.
Derek, what do you think about the story?
Jay, this story has me saying, what the fuck? And on that, why don't we hop on over to the mailbag and voicemails? Altius asks, what are you looking forward to seeing most at PAX East this week? It seems like a few AAA developers and publishers are missing this year. Ubisoft, EA, Activision. Well, some of them are missing. Ubisoft is really the big one that's missing because they're always there. But Activision is never there, Altius, just for future reference.
Yeah, they're never there.
EA has been.
Their small games go there.
Yeah.
Like SWTOR was there one year when it was really big and there's lines everywhere. But they're not like there.
No.
Ubi, it is weird for Ubi not to be there.
But
that's the only one I'd say.
But I feel like this is the trend we're seeing. We saw it with E3, and we saw it now with PAX East, and I don't know. I don't know where gaming conventions are going, and I have a fear that next year, come E3 time, E3 might not be worthwhile to go to.
We had was this 2 weeks ago? We had a long discussion about this on one of our previous podcasts. And it's just the fact that with the internet and the way things are going now, there is really no reason to go. The reason Derek and I usually go is for the fun party side of things, hanging out with friends. Very little of it actually revolves around gaming, as weird as that sounds. Yep. That's not to say we don't go. We're always there on the floor for those days in their entirety. So it's not that we're not in that scene, but it's just that you can get that information anywhere if you want to at this point. Yeah. And because again, Derek and I have said this a billion times over, because they inflated the amount of cons that there are per year, it just diluted the market. I mean, I hate saying this, but one of the worst things to happen to cons was PAX. And that's probably no one's going to agree with me or they're going to be mad, but it really ruined the scene because then everyone started making them, and even PAX made more and more of them, to the point where E3 is like, do I need to go?
See, maybe you were fine with PAX and PAX East, but then going to Australia, going south, and then Rooster Teeth had to get involved, Rooster Teeth Expo, and then meanwhile, then you forget all the overseas shows. So you got Gamescom, you got Tokyo Game Show, you got everything out there. So things were much easier even before. Like I live in Boston, so PAX East is a huge convenience.
Yeah, I get why that's.
But I would have still preferred just there to be PAX. Like at this point, give me E3, give me PAX, and then go overseas for TGS, for Gamescom, and make those your big shows of the year. And now you're back to 4. And every fucking publisher and developer wants to be at those 4. Once you get this so spread out, you just can't do this anymore. You can't go to Texas and then the next week be in California, the next week be in Seattle, and then back down to LA for E3, and then okay, we have we only have 3 weeks off, and then we're out into Europe, and we got Gamescom, and then we're back to the US, and then we got to do.
They have GDC in San Francisco. They still have, so there's like
GameStop Manager Show.
Yeah. There's no money. Well, they can always afford to go to these shows, but at what point do you say to yourself, is that worth the marketing dollars? I don't see it being worth it. If I was a guy that was head of Activision or whatever, I would not put my money in this. It'd be hell of a lot cheaper to do what Blizzard does, create your own con for your games where literally you can focus on anyone that attends is already interested in your games, will already likely buy your games. You can market directly to them and use them as your launch pad, as your word of mouth to get out and tell their friends about these games. That's the best way to sell games anyway. But see, I want to know what Blizzard's still playing. I want to know what, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the games that I play.
Yeah, but Blizzard still comes to all the cons, though. Blizzard's at PAX East this week.
Blizzard usually, when they go to those cons, is there for a very focused reason.
So this time, it's Overwatch.
It's Overwatch, right. And so it's very different. They don't go to the cons in the same way that Activision goes to a con, or certainly not the same way E3 would go to a con. So yeah, I mean, I still think there's value there, but not at the level that a lot of the ones that are pulling out are the ones that had mega booths.
I can't even imagine the cost of, like, just think of the times we went to the Activision booth. In the corner of the South Hall, the biggest booth took up the whole corner. We would go in. It has its own hallways and meeting rooms, and you go into a room that was individually air conditioned, possibly the best theater you've ever watched any content in ever. You're the most cushy seat. It's ultra high def screens. It's just I can't even put I have no idea how much these guys pay for these things. But
yeah, it seems like the cons just naturally need to get smaller because of that. I mean, it's going to get to a point, and again, Derek and I have said it, but I think E3 is probably going to come around and be 10,000 people, maybe 5,000 people.
It needs a reset.
It's going to need a reboot. Yeah.
All these things need a reset. And once the attendance starts dropping and the only attendance is at the fan level shows, well, now it's going to be a different thing. And then so maybe you're like, okay, well, we're not getting the same bang for our buck. And they're going to start, like we're seeing this year at PAX East, pull out of the fan level shows and then maybe put your eggs back in the media level shows.
Yeah, like go back to the press.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's stressful. I don't know what's going to happen, but yeah, I don't even know what I'm looking forward to seeing at PAX East because nobody ever announces anything new at these shows anymore.
Yeah,
there's too many shows. So it's not like
there's no big reveals.
Yeah, 3 years ago, Blizzard came to PAX East, and that's when they were or 4 years ago, that's when they revealed Hearthstone. Yeah. So it's no longer the point. Now there's so many shows that maybe 1 out of every 10 developers announces something at the next show, but there's 20 shows now. So you never know. And someone's always saving something for Gamescom. Someone's always saving something for Tokyo Game Show. So you've just spread the audience so thin over so many shows that there's no big go-to thing. Even now, like the only thing left are the press conferences at E3. And even that's, for a while, Nintendo backed out of those. So it goes to show that something needs to change. I don't know who needs to be the catalyst of it, but we are in a bad place for cons right now.
Yeah, definitely.
For Joe Sixpack that's never seen a game and never been to a game con, this is their best time because they don't give a shit. They're like, oh my God, I'm here. There's all kinds of video games, but you don't know what you're missing because you've never seen better. Sorry. I don't mean to sound elitist. I don't mean to sound like a dick, but it's true. You don't know what a good con is because all you're seeing is PAX East or PAX or PAX South. You're like, it's amazing. There's games. Yeah. It's the shittiest games that you've ever seen. Go to the indie mega booth and play Soda Drinker Pro again. Not to shit on that, but we're giving out free. No. So, all right. Next bit of feedback comes from our own i6 Hitman. Now, I don't even know if he could fit this in the slide. I'm assuming this is not behind me because Hit wrote a novel here.
He did.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. And this is what Hit wrote. What is cheating in video games? Is there a good or bad way to cheat? Is it considered pushing Atheon off a ledge using nades in Destiny? Or hacking the code of Halo 2 to give you infinite ammo and health? Or is it using something in the game to your advantage, like BXB or BXR in Halo 3? Where does the Division glitching fall under? In my opinion, it's something left in the game by the developer. It's fair game. Halo 2 modding is the bad type of cheating. Massive didn't make the Division properly or didn't quality test it properly. The users should not be at fault for using something in the game. What are your thoughts on this? Now, we talked to some extent about this, or to a lot of extent, but yeah, I don't know. This is one of those gray areas. Like, they put in their terms and conditions, and if they're lazy enough to not fix their game and not do what's best for the customer, then they have the protection to say "fuck you."
I always look at it like this, and so I think if you're exploiting, you're cheating because by nature exploiting is literally exploiting. It's pretty self-explanatory. So it is a form of cheating. However, and I already touched on this too, the way exploits work versus hacking. Hacking, you go into with the express purpose to do something.
Oh, it's malicious.
Malicious, right? Like to do something that gives you an amazing advantage that no one else, or at least a small group, this is the big difference here, that a small group can have access to. The way that exploits work, however, like BXR or Atheon off a ledge, and obviously even Division, anyone and everyone can do them because they are only done based on poor design and poor development. So by that nature, when you exploit in a game like that, when you know or you found an exploit and then everyone else is doing the exploit as well, there's nothing inherently wrong with it because anyone else can do it. Now, a lot of would argue that because you're exploiting, you're a cheater, and I would never take that moral position to exploit, and therefore you're a douchebag because you do. But that's really a question of your moral integrity when playing a video game. And if you really want to get into morals in video games, I feel like you're not playing video games for the reason to play them, which is your own enjoyment. So if my desire is to get the best level gear, or in Halo, be the best Halo player, and there's an exploit that is given to me in a way that I know the community releases it out, we all know how to do this exploit, everyone knew how to do BXR, then at that point, it becomes the onus of the developer to either patch it or ban them. Yep. And so here's the other part of it. If they wish to ban, and that becomes a thing, well, then that's actually okay too, because then the developer's saying, yes, we know BXR exists. Yes, we know it's not a good thing. We can't fix it currently. And so anyone found BXR in will be banned immediately. So now as a developer, you've said verbally that it's a bad thing and you're banning. At that point forward, anyone that does it gets banned shouldn't be pissed that they got banned. They were told.
You were warned?
You were warned and you got banned.
They knew what they were getting into.
They knew what they were getting into. We told them before.
Yes.
So that's the difference. So if the developer chooses to actually take action, which I believe is the best course, like we saw with Atheon, to fix the problem so that people don't put themselves into the position to have the desire to exploit, then that's okay. If they take the position of banning, you isolate and you alienate your player base because you haven't fixed the core problem, and that's why are they exploiting in the first place. In BXR's case, it became an amazingly fun and rewarding thing to do to BXR. I actually thought it was one of the cool parts of Halo. Yeah. There was a quirk that made you a better player just inherently by the cool
because you could
combinations you could do.
Yeah.
And so it's weird. You're right. There's this gray line, but it's also not cut and dry like you're a cheater and you're a piece of shit. When you bring morals into it, I think things get a little weird because it's like, we're playing a fucking video game. If you want to be mad at me because I'm exploiting, well, then maybe you need to take a look at your life and figure out what's missing from it, where morals become the centerpiece of your gaming lifestyle. That's fucked up to me. Yep. So yeah, I get it, but it's like, bro, come on. That's literally my response. Come on.
Come on.
What do you think?
No, I absolutely agree with you. This is yeah. Once you draw the line in the sand, either you're going to cross it or you're not, and it's to the player and it's to the developer, and either one's going to push the other side's going to push the other side, but either way, you're at fault, or they're at fault,
or their fault. Yeah, right. You make your choice. You want to exploit, you can exploit. I think at one point for Atheon, I feel like there was talk about banning. I can't remember, but I remember it was like a thing where they.
No, I didn't remember any talk.
I wish I could find out info on that, but for some reason, I know that they knew it was bad, and it was like known to the community that you shouldn't do it. But it also was something that, again, Bungie's such a better company.
They're
they
took
onus
it's our fault. It's our fault. We fucked up. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And once it's fixed, you're not going to be able to do it. And that was like your time, like, let's raid tonight.
And what's weird is no one is like, I felt like when Atheon was being exploited and Crota as well, and this could be just like rose-colored glasses, but I don't remember like the outcry of like ban those motherfuckers when this all happened.
No,
maybe there was though.
Maybe it's because of the way the PvP is different in.
Yeah. Like the advantages weren't. Well, no,
the advantages were only an Iron Banner.
You could get Mythicast, and at that time, that was
the
best PvP weapon in the game. Yeah. But no one bitched.
No.
Or maybe they did. Again, I don't remember, but still, it didn't feel
I feel like it was not this level of whiny pussy.
Whiny, bitchiness. Exactly. So I don't know. And it was a fucking fun raid. So like people, I felt like when it got fixed, I was excited to still play.
Even doing Au Natural was fun too. So.
Fun as hell. Yep. One of the best raids they ever came out with. So
maybe still the best.
Is it cheating? Just to sum it up, yeah.
Yeah.
But is it cheating that deserves being? Is it cheating like hacking? Fuck no. Not even on the same level.
No.
Stop being a pussy.
Exactly.
Man up. Fix your game. Or don't fucking exploit if you don't feel like it. But don't cry because the guy next to you is 240 here because you were too much of a fucking moral high horse bitch to not get up there and start fucking cheating. Get out there and exploit until they fix it, bro. You got a limited time. Go for it.
True dat, motherfucker.
All right, I'm done.
All right. Well, if any of you have awesome feedback like that, give us a call, 773-527-2961. Emails at podcast@tooltoplay.com. You can also comment this episode thread in the Tool to Play homepage. And sponsors. Remember, by supporting your sponsors, you help support Still Got Game. ThinkGeek. Everybody shops at ThinkGeek. So when you go to ThinkGeek, go to tooltoplay.com/geek. Shop that way. Helps us, helps you. Everybody loves beer. We got the Craft Beer Club. You want to send someone a beer of the month thing? You want to get one for yourself? tooltoplay.com/beer. Go there. Helps us, helps you. Done. If you like to sponsor us, 773-527-2961, podcast@tooltoplay.com. You tell us what you're selling, what you're telling us you're going to pass. We'll sell it. You pass. Boom. Done. Twitter us up. You can find everything Tool to Play related, Twitter.com/Tool to Play. Everything podcast related, Twitter.com. Oh my God. I'm talking too fast. Twitter.com/still_gut_game. King in the internet. Got of everything that's fucking holding me at Twitter.com/Derek Nolan.
You can find me at twitter.com/exploit_all-day. Oh, no, do that wrong.
Yeah, that's right. You changed it. Also, twitter.com/electrify. We also have a Facebook channel, facebook.com/tool to play, facebook.com/Derek Nolan,
facebook.com/do-that-rock,
facebook.com/Tiff Nolan. YouTube channel, youtube.com/tool to play. That's the place to find all of Tool to Play's archived video content, whether it's this show, whether it's other shows. Now, Hit may try to deny this again, but this week on Twitter, there was a lot of talk about Hit's quick hits. And he is smiling and laughing because he knows that multiple sources have pushed this on him this week. But when this show comes back and Hit's Quick Hits shows up on our Twitch channel, all of those archived Hit's Quick Hits, or as we like to call it, Hits Hits, is going to be back on our YouTube channel. Also, please rate and review this podcast in iTunes. We need some 5-star reviews. We need some positive comments. So if nothing else, give us the 5 stars. But if you have an extra 5 seconds, just write something nice like, so handsome, or devilishly handsome, or oh my God, the mini man bangs on D Smooth are amazing. They're hard. They could probably stab a bird right out of the air. Whatever you want to say about my hair or anything else, fucking just comment on it. Just positive comments. That's all we need. It's not like they don't come in anyway. 90% of the comments are about my hair. But yeah, say something nice, give us 5 stars, and it would help us out. I guess before we wrap up, we're going to remind you we have this Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Tool to Play. That's where Tool to Play's live video content all shows up, whether it's this show, whether it's gameplay footage. Jay was broadcasting Overwatch beta yesterday. Was that yesterday? Yeah. Whether it hits broadcasting there from his fake channel and also simulcasting to the real channel, it doesn't matter. That's all of Tool Play's live content comes here. And there's a follow button. You can follow us. You can subscribe. The subscribe is better than the follow. Follow will let you know when we're going. Subscribe actually gives money into our pockets. So if you're so inclined, subscribe, help us out, and it would mean a lot to us. And before we finally finish up tonight, I remind you, join us each and every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, twitch.tv/tooltoplay. And on that, why don't we wrap this episode up? I am Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
I'm Joel Dude, I Rock Albert.
Hang on. I'm gonna break through the wall here and glitch out. Hang on.